It feels good to be back. I know it's been a long time. I have not been doing any YouTube video for the past, I think 4 to 5 months. Whatever you saw on this channel were videos that I've done a long time ago. So obviously I needed a break, which I believe is very important. I needed a break. I needed time to recharge. But most importantly, I just had to change my camera. Honestly, my old camera, you know, it was time to upgrade. Let me just put it that way. It was time to upgrade. And also doing the settings on the camera, I have tried to record this video. This is the third or the fourth time recording this video this month, and I've had to delete it because my settings was wrong, or you know, something was just wrong. Okay, so finally I'm back. All right, I'm back. I've had my break, I've recharged, I've thought of new ideas and things to do when I come back on YouTube. So for those of you who are wondering, this is my natural hair. I've been doing hair videos. I think my last maybe 10 or 15 videos have been hair videos, and today I'm not going to do a hair video. I'm going to do a different type of video, a chit chat video where you get to know me, I get to know you. And for those of you who don't know, I'm more of a private person. So when I'm sharing my story with you guys, I'm sharing it with you for you guys to be inspired, to motivate you, to inspire you to have a relationship with God, and to also let you know that, you know, I'm going through the things that normal people go through as well. And yeah, to give you a little bit of insight into my life, right? So that's what this video is. Today I'm going to talk about how, in my experience of being a single mom at the age of 16. Now, I will be doing hair videos, okay? It's just that there are certain things I need to put in place before I get back to uploading hair videos. So I'll still be doing my hair videos, but for now, for the next few weeks, I'm going to do more chit chat videos, and then as soon as I get this other thing done, I will get back to the hair videos. But today I'm going to talk about how I became a single mom at the age of 16, you know, my pregnancy experience, and you know, at the end I'm also going to talk to those of you who've also been in my same shoe, or those of you who've been a single mom as a teenager, okay? Because life is different. When you're a single mom and you're a teenager, life is different. People behave different towards you and things change, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. So let's get straight into it. So growing up, a lot of you know that I was brought up in a Christian home, in a very strict Christian home, and my parents were, you know, in a good position in the church. But obviously as of that time, I did not have a relationship with God. So I was, you know, going to church like, yeah, I'm a good girl, and then I come home and I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing, okay? So I was involved in sexual immorality, which we all know, you know, God is really against that before marriage, but we'll talk about that in another video. And eventually, your girl got pregnant. Your girl got pregnant. I got pregnant. I was 16 at the time when this happened. Now, the thing was, right, after the sexual act, by the third day, I felt something in my stomach, and I just knew, I knew that at that point that I had conceived. The only problem was, how do I explain this to my parents? Now, bear in mind, like right now I'm 30, so this has happened over sorry, I'm going to be 30 this year, so this has happened over a decade now. And back at the time when I got pregnant, it wasn't common for young girls to get pregnant at that age. It wasn't norm. Like right now, it's becoming norm. There's a lot of pandemic going on with, you know, teenage pregnancy and pregnancy outside wedlock. But back then, it was very, very rare. So it wasn't really a common thing. And in the African culture, it is a shameful thing for a girl to get pregnant outside wedlock. So when it happened, obviously I didn't know how to explain this, because I don't know what to say. Like, what am I supposed to say? So I just decided that, you know what, I'm just going to let this thing grow in the house, because I don't know what to do and I don't know how to say it. So eventually, my mom started suspecting. Now, normally everybody in my house knows that when I'm on my period, I don't want to do anything. I'm tired. You know, I'm just dull, I'm sluggish, because it's painful as of that time. And so my mom, you know, she just told me that it's been a while. I've seen you, you know, in this position. Have you been seeing your period? So I'm like, no, but I believe I'll see it soon. So she kind of like monitored me, and she realized it didn't come that month. So she started talking to me about how she's worried about it. I said, well, you know, maybe I have PCOS, where some girls don't get their period every month. And, you know, deep down she wasn't convinced, because obviously she's been a woman more than I have, okay? She's lived more than I have. So she wasn't convinced, and so she decided to take me to the doctors, right? So we went to the doctors, and my heart was pounding. And the doctor gave me this this little bottle and told me to pee in it and to give him my urine. And when I went to the toilet to, you know, pee in it, I was praying all sorts of prayer in that bottle. I'm like, God, please make sure this thing says I'm not pregnant. Please make sure this thing says I'm not pregnant. You know, my heart was like boom, 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 boom. And when I gave it to him and he tested it, he told my mom, he said, your daughter is pregnant. My mom was like, no, that can't be possible. How can that be so, blah, blah, blah. The doctor was like, look, I've been in this job for so long. I know when a woman is pregnant, when she's not. And my mom was disappointed in me. My parents were disappointed in me. And most importantly, I was disappointed in myself. And it took a very long time for me to forgive myself. You know, a lot of times we talk so much about forgiving people for doing this to us, to doing that, but sometimes we have a hard time forgiving ourselves for making big mistakes that could affect us for the rest of our lives. And people actually don't talk about this, because forgiving yourself is a lot harder than forgiving somebody else, because now you know that I'm the one that have put myself in this situation. It's not somebody else that did it. I'm the one that did it, you know? So it took a long time for me to forgive myself. And I was so disappointed in myself that I was trying to take poisonous things to get rid of it. Because again, as of that time, it wasn't norm for young girls at that age to get pregnant. Like, it wasn't norm like the way it is right now. Okay, so I felt like, oh my God, I need to do something to get rid of it. Now, the topic of abortion did come up, and as Christians, we're not supposed to do abortion, but when these things happen in real life, you know, your mind does think about abortion. And so while we were thinking about it, I then had a dream where the Holy Spirit had told me that if you decide to go ahead and get an abortion done, you won't be able to get pregnant for the rest of your life. Now, I know physically that there's a lot of people who do get abortions and they still get pregnant. And then there's some people who do get abortion and they can never get pregnant. And then there's some people who do get an abortion and their womb gets destroyed. Each destiny is different, and you cannot compare yourself to somebody else. So for me, in my destiny, I'm not allowed to get it, because if I do, I won't be able to get pregnant again. And so when I told my mom about this, my mom was like, I wipe my hands from it. I don't want any innocent blood on my hands. You know, you've put yourself in this position. You're just going to go through it regardless. And so as we've decided to go through it, we decided not to tell any of my friends about it. Nobody in school knew about it apart from a teacher who she had to know, because she had to monitor me. And the reason why I had to keep it on the low, or keep it as a secret, was, again, my mom didn't want my name to be the topic of discussion in the church or in the neighborhood or amongst her friend. So the best thing to do was to keep it a secret. And when my stomach was getting a bit, when I was pregnant, it looks more like I was getting fat, and I was wearing clothes to try to cover it a bit. But when it got to the point where it was like 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, I had to then stop going to school, so that, because it was getting bigger and I had to stay home. And those days was a very dark time in my life, because my parents had always made me feel ashamed that what I did was wrong every single day. There wasn't a day during that pregnancy where I was happy and I felt good, and there wasn't a day. Every single day it was just full of darkness, because the people around me would always show it indirectly by their facial expression, by their words, that they were disappointed in me. And you know what's really funny sometimes is that some people, let me not say some people, family members, when your family is disappointed in you or they're not happy with you, it's not because of you, but it's because of how it affects them, which is very selfish. Because at the end of the day, I was the one carrying this kid. I'm the one going through this whole thing called pregnancy. It wasn't them. So if someone is going through something in your family, and even if that thing was shameful or embarrassing to the whole family, the best thing you can do is to support the person that's actually going through it. Because at the end of the day, that person is the one going through the pain. It's not everyone else. And for you to consider what people are going to say, how people are going to, mock you, is very selfish, because the person that's going through it is having a worse and a bad time with it. So it's something that we need to be conscious about. There are times where someone in the family could do something that could really affect everyone's image in the family. But the worst thing you can do is to make that person feel bad, and that person could have the capacity to commit suicide. So we have to be really, really careful, and to make sure that we're not being selfish with our feelings, and that we're considering other people's feelings, and we're considering what that person is actually going through, and forget about what people will say, because at the end of the day, those people are not going to help you. So at the time, I was going through depression. I was not really happy throughout this whole pregnancy, and I think it explains why now my son is a bit moody all the time, because throughout the whole pregnancy I wasn't really a happy person. It was a very, very dark place for me. And on top of that, me and the father of the child, it was really just a sexual relationship. It wasn't a love relationship. It was just a purely 100% sexual relationship. And so you know how it is when a dude finds out you're pregnant, when he obviously wasn't prepared for that, the first thing he's going to do is deny it and make you look like the fool and make you look like the idiot. But at the same time, this guy was a player, and he was pretty much meeting all these girls that I knew, and that's when I felt even more embarrassed, and I thought, oh my God, what type of person am I dealing with? And so that went on. And then when it got to the 9th month of the pregnancy, one day I woke up, I looked at myself in the mirror, and I just told my mom, it's time to go to the hospital. I don't know I don't know how I knew, because my water didn't break or anything. I just stood there and I said, you know what, it's just time to get this baby out. So my mom took me down to the hospital. My mom was the one that has been so she was the one who's been there for me from the beginning till now. And that's why I will forever appreciate my mom, make sure that she's always taken care of, because times like this, it really should be your man that should be by your side times like this, you know what I mean? And so my mom took me to the hospital, and the nurse were telling me, your water hasn't broke yet, so I don't think you're going to give birth today. And I looked at the nurse and I told her, I said, look, today is the day this baby is coming out. You know, when you've reached 9 months of your pregnancy, you get to a point where you're just like, Lord, this baby needs to come out. Like 9 months of pregnancy is long, you know. You can't move quickly as people move. Sometimes you can't eat the things that other people eat. Times you feel sluggish, you feel tired. Like pregnancy affects people in different ways. And so at that point I said, look, I'm not going home. I'm gonna be here, and I'm giving birth to this kid today. And so eventually they allowed me to stay, and then the next thing you know, my water broke, and it was time to then go to the labor room and give birth. And so when I got into the labor room, and they were, you know, preparing everything down for me, I told them, I said, look, I want to go to bed. I want to sleep. I'm not prepared to push anything out. And they looked at me and they said, no, you have to start pushing. We have to take this baby out. I said, look, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I don't have any strength to do that. I want to sleep. So the midwife was like, okay, we can let you go to bed, but we're going to wake you up in 2 hours to start pushing. So I said, yeah, okay. And for some reason, the midwife woke me up like an hour later. And when she woke me up, she said, okay, it's time. And I think they could tell that I was exhausted, so they decided to give me the epidural. And so when they gave me the epidural, I was obviously numbed in the other half of my body. And then they told me, all right, it's time to push the baby out. So I'm like, how? Because remember, I've not done any research throughout this whole pregnancy, because again, it was a very dark time. So I couldn't afford to buy a pregnancy book for myself. I didn't have the guts to ask my mom, hey, can you buy me a pregnancy book? You know, so I had no clue what was going on. I had no clue, you know, what was happening. And I was just 16, you know, and I sat there in the labor room and I thought to myself, how could I have put myself in such a position like this? Like, I'm not even one to cry on camera. I can't believe I'm about to cry on camera, because when I see people who cry on camera, I normally don't take them seriously. But I just thought to myself, like, why did I take a few minutes of pleasure to put myself in this position at 16? It was just too much. It was a lot. It was too much. And mentally, I wasn't prepared. Mentally, I couldn't even grasp around the fact that I'm going to become a mom. I still couldn't work my head around it, because in my mind I'm thinking, I'm just 16. Like, I'm still trying to be responsible for myself, you know? And so when they gave me the epidural, it was time to push, and the baby was in the right position. And as I was pushing, the baby decided to turn to another position. And I thought, oh my days. So my mom started praying for me. My mom called a pastor as well to also pray on my behalf. And the pastor had told my mom that, you know, there's a lot of dead spirit and evil spirit in the hospital, and we need to pray that she has a safe delivery and that she will be okay and the baby will also be okay. And so they were the two people who were interceding for me. And ladies, it's very important for a man to, you know, follow you into the labor room and pray for you. It's really important for you to be with a man that can pray, because times like this, a good looking man with a six-pack is not going to help you. You won't even see that good looking face and six-pack when you're in that labor room. Trust me, you're not going to see it. So my mom was praying. The nurses were looking at my mom like she's crazy, because obviously they don't do that stuff. And as they were praying, this was definitely a God thing. There was one particular midwife who knew me from day one when I come in for my regular hospital checkup. And she looked at me, she's like, oh my God, today is your delivery day. And the midwife had explained to her the situation, what's going on, that, you know, I'm tired, the baby is tired, and they're thinking about doing a C-section. And my mom was like, no, we're not doing no C-section, because the plan is once I give birth, after a week or two, I need to go back to to school and finish. I was in secondary school. And so the nurse was like, oh, okay, don't worry, I know what to do. So she got this magnet thing, I don't know what it's called. She put it near my vagina. The baby's head stuck to the magnet thing and the baby came out. And I thought to myself this whole time that this old midwife had been stressing me out. This nurse, she just took the tool that was in the same labor room to make this delivery easy for me. But that's all thanks to God and to the pastor that was praying and to my mom who was also interceding for me. It's very important for you to have someone who can really pray for you when you're in the labor room, because some women have died in the labor room while giving birth. Some people have become permanently disabled while giving birth. Some people have lost a baby. You know, all different types of things can happen in the labor room. It's really pregnancy is a time where a woman is very, very weak, and so you need a man who's strong physically or spiritually, who can really, really help you. It's really, really important. You don't want to do this on your own. I know people on social media are portraying it like, yeah, single mom this, single mom that. I'm telling you the truth right now. There's nothing glamorous about being a single mom. If you're a single mom, obviously it's not the end of the world. You can enjoy life, you can enjoy your life with your kids, but what I'm saying is don't intentionally become that, because it's not that glamorous. That's what I'm saying. So when the baby came out, I really thought that, okay, I can go back to my normal life. I can go back being a teenager. I can go back to school and run and play. But boy, I didn't realize that I'm not going back home as a teenager. I'm going back home as a mom, as a teenager. And so now I'm living two different lives. I'm living a life of a teenager when I'm in school, and I'm going to live a life of a mom when I come back home. So this is the end of this part. I'm going to do a part 2 of life after birth as a teenage mom, and I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty of what it's like mentally, because a lot of people, you guys see single moms do things and you're like, oh my God, I thought you're a mom, why are you doing that? And a lot of you forget that just because someone has pushed a baby out of their body doesn't mean that they're mentally a mom. You can be a mom, but you might not even feel like a mom mentally. And I think this is something that I'm going to go in depth and talk about this in part 2. And I'm also going to talk about how life is really different once you give birth as a teenager. It's different when you give birth as an adult compared to when you give birth as a teenager. And I'm also then gonna, in the next few weeks, talk about dating as a single mom, what to do, what not to do, so on. So I've got a lot of things packaged for you guys, but I don't want to keep each video so long, because I know a lot of people don't like watching a video that is so long. Yeah, so this is the end of part 1. Please hit the like button. If there's anything you want to ask me, leave it in the comment section. And that's it for today. So stay blessed and stay beautiful. Bye.